Hi, welcome to Booksmart. I'm your host, Caitlin Anthony, and today we have Tom Kirkham, author of the Cyber Pandemic Survival Guide Protecting Yourself from the Coming Worldwide Cyber War. Hi, Tom. It's great to have you. How are you doing?
Doing great. Great to be here.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to talking about your book. Can you tell me why you decided to write this book?
I wrote this book to hopefully educate everyone everywhere that these cyber attacks are real. They happen to everybody. It doesn't matter who you are, where you are. They are done at scale, at volume, and they can affect everybody around the world. And if you imagine, if you take COVID as an example, that virus spread around the world in weeks or months. Imagine if a major offensive cyber weapon was to be unleashed on the planet, it would be minutes and hours
Mm,
to go all over the world, interrupting infrastructure and supply chains and hospitals and everything that we have in a modern life can be interrupted. I mean, we've seen what happens in the brittle supply chain with just COVID. Well, then imagine if all the computers are not functioning properly on top of that.
yeah, that's really terrifying to think about. And I am so glad that companies exist and people exist that, like you, that are helping us stay safe and keeping us educated. Cybersecurity threats are a multi-billion-dollar worldwide business. Is this something truly everyone needs to be concerned with, or is it only relevant if you, say, have trade secrets?
Everyone needs to be concerned about it, but everyone also has a unique risk profile. And our business
Mm,
is protecting high net worth individuals and other businesses, right? So when we go into a law firm, it's not a cookie cutter solution. Some law firms do patent law, some law firms are personal injury. So we've got HIPAA regulations we have to follow to protect patient data. And in the case of a patent law or intellectual property law firm, we've got to protect that from other nation states that want to steal it and use the information.
so your company helps to go in and decide the threat level based off the profile and the needs.
Right. So the president or the CEO or the owner of the company, they when they engage with us, they will say, we need to find out what our vulnerabilities are.
Mm,
And we will do a risk assessment. We'll understand who the threat actors are, what threat technologies are going to be used against them, what data do they have, and why would someone want it?
sure.
Or why would they want to hold their data hostage, like in a ransomware attack? And once you assess all of those things as an owner or a president of a company or whatever your leadership role is, you understand all of those vulnerabilities, you acknowledge them, and then we come in and apply the proper protection to safeguard that data, that information, their money, and that business and their reputation. We think of it as a defense in depth strategy to protect all of the stakeholders in that organization. And for some of them, it could be their community or their city,
Hmm.
their state. They could be national operators or even an international company that we've got to think about all the different things and put in place very extensive enterprise grade cybersecurity defenses.
It seems like the obvious thing to do, but I know that you're in business for other reasons because it's not always so obvious. And so, what are some things that businesses or high net worth individuals can do right now to help protect themselves?
Well, it's understanding your risk and acknowledging it and then addressing it. That's the biggest failure. And you've got to understand that humans are the weakest link.
Hmm,
Over 90% of successful breaches, it was caused by a human, letting the hacker into the network. They were conned or socially engineered, psychologically manipulated to let the hacker inside the computer or inside the company's network.
that's really fascinating. What are the risks if these companies don't choose to protect themselves or use these measures that you help them with?
Oh, it's innumerable. You could have a loss of reputation. You're going to probably lose clients or patients or customers because nobody wants their data stolen. You could be a threat vector to your vendors or a threat vector to your clients.
Mm,
Think about an accounting firm and all of their clients. Many of those are going to be high net worth individuals. You could be a threat vector for a client of yours. and you can't buy back your reputation.
Yeah.
40 to 60% of businesses fail in no more than 2 years after a significant cyber attack.
Yeah. Well, if that's not reason enough to call you and to take this seriously, I don't know what is. I thought what was really interesting is that you made a creative decision to sort of interweave fiction with nonfiction in this book. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Right, right. So the mayor of this small town in Connecticut is Joe, and he, because of a cyber attack, he has to deal with a gray hat hacker who's kind of in that murky underworld, kind of a good guy but kind of a bad guy, and try to overcome this cyber attack in his town. And the the story arc is interspersed with all of the things that led up to the failure. In
Mm.
fact, he's called Joe the Failure in the book by Sun Tzu Lu is another character. But it addresses not just the technical problems and the lack of defense in depth strategy, but also the failure of leadership and management. You know, the if you don't understand the industry, the IT industry and the cybersecurity industry, and you suffer a breach, it's real easy to go and blame your IT person.
Yeah.
It was a failure of IT, but in reality, it's almost always a failure of leadership. And it's like an airplane crash. There's usually 4 or 5 or 6 things that all conspired together
Mm-hmm.
that went wrong. But in almost every case, it's poor leadership decision, poor management decision, along with poor technical and administrative controls.
That's a really great perspective. And I also like how you made it a story and made it relatable while talking about tech and cybersecurity. It was really great. Your company has stopped over 100,000 threats. What are some examples of this?
Oh, it happens all the time. Every day, we get a phishing email that a client says, "Hey, is this okay to open?"
Mm,
So they forward it to us just for us to look at it and make sure it's safe and it's legitimate and things like that. That happens every day, sometimes many, many times a day. And we've stopped other major attacks. We've never had, no client of ours has had a successful attack,
wow.
and we want to keep it that way. I hope I can always say that.
Yeah,
But
that says something about that reputation, right? That you were
right,
talking about.
and because we have so much expertise available to us, we have a number of vendor partners that are true experts in everything they do. And when we do have a major attack, we literally bring in hundreds of people from all over the world to slow the attack down, kill the attack, and then investigate and examine everything and find out what went wrong so we can improve it the next time.
Wow, that's really incredible. And this whole journey has even landed you on an ISIS kill list, from what I understand. Tell us a little
Yes.
bit more.
Yeah, this is a good story, and everyone thinks when they hear that,
I was gonna say that sounds kind of scary to me.
everyone thinks it's because I am a cybersecurity expert that's why I'm on the list. But in reality, the reason I'm on the list is because of a data breach.
Mm,
And it increased my passion even more when it comes to all things cybersecure
sure.
because of being on an ISIS kill list. And so far, I've been able
You're
to
here.
survive that. Yeah, so far I've survived the ISIS kill
Well, we're
list.
so happy that you're here and that you are keeping us safe. Thank you so much for coming on Booksmart. This has been great.
All right, my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.